So by the time you hear this, we will have had more news. There will have been more updates. And sadly, tragically, horrifically, the death toll will probably have continued to rise. But at this point, we know that I think it was 58 last time I saw. 58 people were killed on Sunday night in what is the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Thousands of country music fans had to run for cover. I think 500 people have been rushed to hospital when we last checked. It happened at the outdoor Jason Aldean concert in Vegas. The gunman, a 64-year-old man called Stephen Paddock, shot from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel. This is what we're hearing from Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Sheriff Joseph Lombardo. Apparently, they found a massive supply of weapons, including 10 rifles in his room. Now, we've heard a couple different things about what actually happened when authorities got to his room. We heard he was killed by police. And then Lombardo has also said, we believe the individual killed himself prior to our entry. Happened around 10:08 p.m. in Vegas at the Route 91 Harvest Festival. Police say they believe Paddock acted alone right now. We believe it's a sole actor, a lone wolf type actor. The Islamic State has claimed responsibility for it, but the FBI are saying that there was no connection between the shooter and an international terrorist group. The woman, described as a person of interest after the attack, is not believed to be involved in the shooting. They were looking for her last night. Mary Lou Danley was her name. And they said today that she's no longer being sought as a person of interest. Las Vegas detectives have made contact with her and do not believe she's involved with the shooting on the Strip. The guy's brother said he was stunned to learn that his brother was responsible for the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history, saying it's like an asteroid fell out of the sky. Apparently, last time they communicated, they were texting, and I guess this guy's family and his mom live in Florida, and he was asking how his mom was doing after losing power from Hurricane Irma. When asked about the guns, Eric Paddock said he knew that his brother owned a few handguns, maybe one rifle, but he didn't know about any automatic weapons. The thing that you can do right now is blood donations are needed. Hundreds and hundreds of victims are hospitalized. And right now, the sheriff has asked the community to donate blood. And I'm sure if you just look a little bit, you're going to find an opportunity to give somewhere near you. Funkhauser, you lived in Vegas for a while. Like, what do you know about?
Yeah.
What do you know about where this happened?
Well, it's not at the south point of the Strip, but it's at like the southernmost part where there are a lot of people on the Strip. Mm-hmm. I lived about a couple blocks away from Mandalay Bay when I lived there, and this is a parking lot where it all happened. And if you're standing in this parking lot, you're looking around, you're seeing all these giant buildings. You're surrounded by giant buildings. So, it's quite alarming to think if you were hearing gunshots from one of them, where it's coming from and which way to run.
Didn't your phone start going off like late last night?
Yeah, last night, all my old friends from Vegas were checking in, saying, "Oh, if you hear from Carly, let me know." Uh-oh, was she at Route 91?
Are all your people sort of accounted for? Because you might not know this about Funkhauser, but you do some work with country radio. So there's a chance that some folks were connected to this or working with it, or just at the very least they're as spectators.
Yeah. Well, I work for the LA country station, and everyone's accounted for. Although some of the listeners, people win tickets, and they go and they're.
Did you wait? Were you guys giving away tickets to this event?
Yeah, we had a booth there, and the morning show went. And
oh, geez.
I was there on Friday, and we recorded tracks for Monday because Monday was supposed to be a sleep-in day for them, and so they pre-recorded. And so this morning the show went on the air without any host, and the listeners kind of freaked out a little more, thinking, "Oh, well, are they accounted for?" But Facebook does a real good job at marking people safe, so everyone I know is accounted for, I think.
Facebook has set up a crisis response page, and if you are looking for information on someone that's missing after the attack, 866-535-5654. That's 866-535-5654.
Real radio. 104.1.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
So this is what we know so far. The Islamic State has claimed responsibility for this shooting in Vegas. They issued a statement through its Amaq news agency claiming responsibility for the shooting, saying that the attacker had converted to Islam a few months ago, saying the Las Vegas attack was carried out by a soldier of the Islamic State, and he carried it out in response to calls to target states of the coalition. But it is extremely important to note at this stage in the game, it is extremely important to note that an FBI special agent said there was no connection between the shooter and an international terrorist group. One U.S. official said there was reason to believe that the shooter, who, like we said earlier, the police have identified as 64-year-old Stephen Paddock, had a history of psychological problems. The folks over at CNN have a law enforcement analyst, a guy called James Gagliano, and based on the audio of the shooting, it suggested that the shooter had used a military-style weapon, a belt-fed machine gun with a large drum. Now, it's very important to know this is all speculation on the part of people that are making educated guesses, trying to get us information, and more will become clear. But James Gagliano said automatic weapons like that had to be numbers of magazines or a very large drum. It sounded to me like a belt-fed weapon, a military-style weapon. And then to be shooting down, to use the analogy, it was like fish in a barrel. It's absolutely horrific. And it's one of those times where I suppose, really, what you're asking yourself is, what can you do? And there have been calls for blood. I'm sure that Vegas will be inundated with donations of blood. But that's what's being asked for right now. And making a donation in a time like this, whether the blood that you use, I bring this up because I know people are like, well, I would love to donate blood, but by the time my blood gets there, their blood needs will have been taken care of. And well, look, blood donation in situations like these ones is a great reminder that there are times when people need blood donations. So if you give now and it's used, for the victims of this horrific attack in Vegas, or whether it's used somewhere down the road where, because of your donation, they don't need to implore people to give blood. It's a worthwhile thing. So if you're on the fence about it, just do it. You know what I did this morning, Funkhauser?
What?
Sort of waking up to all this news, or having gone to sleep to all this news. Well, not really slept because, like you, the alerts on my phone just going off like crazy all night long. But the first thing I did was, Jerry Seinfeld is playing in Vegas in April.
Yeah.
And look, you may or may not know this about me, but Jerry Seinfeld is like one of my all-time heroes. He's my reason for doing more or less everything and anything. But I've never seen him live. And then the tickets went on sale to see him in Vegas, and I was on the fence. I didn't know if I could get the time off to go do something like this. The tickets were kind of pricey, and well, today I can't, like, literally the one thing that they're asking for right now is blood. I grew up in England during a time where there was mad cow disease. For the rest of my life, I'm not allowed to give blood. It's a very strange thing. I tried to give blood during I tried to give blood back in the day during 9/11 when I just moved from England. And they're like, nah, you can't do it. You lived in England during mad cow disease. You can't get blood, like, ever. And I was like, at the time I was a vegan. I was like, I'm a vegan. I didn't, I haven't had a burger.
You're still a mad cow.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're like, no, you can't do it. So I've been frustrated more than once by the fact that I can't give blood. But the first thing I did this morning was I just bought my tickets to Vegas, booked the hotel, I was just like, I'm going to Vegas. That's the best thing I can do. That's the best thing I can do. When I lived in New York City during 9/11, the mayor at the time, Rudy Giuliani, when we were talking about what it would take to get back to normal and what it would take to, help heal the city, he was like, please go out, go see a baseball game, go see a show, go just be a New Yorker, enjoy New York, help New York get back on its feet by going to enjoy it. So that was the best thing I could think of this morning. It's not some big gesture, but I was like, I'm booking my tickets to Vegas, and I'm going to go there.
Pretty huge for Vegas, because that's how they survive.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was the first thing. I was like, I can't give blood. I'm going. That's it. But it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And look, I mean, we try and bring facts, and we try and look for the truth on this show. We try and bring you facts, but it's just it's a tough day to be doing something like this, because people want answers, and there aren't answers right now, and people want some action to take, and there is an action you can take right now outside of donating blood, and maybe there will be as we move on. And there's some people that are already jumping on this in a political way, and it's not okay. It's not cool. It's not something that is a responsible or a good thing to do. Right now, you can't take away from the fact that there are hundreds of people that might not make it through tonight, and all we can do is pray for them.
For more stimulation and less irritation, 9 out of 10 doctors choose KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radio Land. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on.
So Jason Aldean was performing when his set was interrupted by the sound of automatic gunfire. And he ran off the stage in Vegas. The shooter was shooting into a crowd of 30,000 people at this outdoor concert in Vegas near the Mandalay Bay Casino last night, a little after 10 p.m. local time. Over 50 are dead. The death count will probably continue to rise, and that number might have changed by the time you've heard this. There were several long bursts of gunfire with long pauses in between while the shooter was reloading. The shots came from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay. The SWAT team had to use explosives to breach the room. Some people say that the suspect was killed by that SWAT team. Some people say that he had killed himself before they got into the room. Like I said, we're very thin on the ground with facts, and the thing that we in no way, shape, or form do is speculate in situations like this one. Jason Aldean posted a statement to confirm he's okay, saying tonight has been beyond horrific. I still don't know what to say, but wanted to let everyone know that me and my crew are safe. My thoughts and prayers go out to everyone involved. It hurts my heart that this would happen to anyone. So Funkhauser.
Yeah. You know, Friday we had a Jason Aldean interview set up at the station. And they did that. I guess they won't be able to play it now.
It's, yes. Yeah, no, it's...
And he's headlining their big festival next week.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe. What do you do in these situations? Do you say it's inappropriate to, headline a festival?
Well, would you go to a country festival next week? Would you? I would, because I'm not afraid.
I would. That was the thing. I woke up this morning. I've been on the fence about going to Vegas to see Jerry Seinfeld. The tickets are expensive. I didn't know if I could get the time off, and I was just like, my mind. The first thing I did as I was reading this story was book my tickets. So, you don't want to back down in the face of these things. You don't. And it's funny because you don't want to allow somebody to win in this situation when they do that. But it's strange. It's very, very strange because the Islamic State have claimed responsibility for this. The FBI are saying no, that's not the case. There's nothing to indicate there's a connection between these two things right now. But I guess look, if somebody said I don't want to go to a festival after something like this, after if the Islamic State is targeting country music festivals and I don't want to be, at one in a week, I would never, ever, ever hold that against them. I never would. Obviously, it's a personal thing in this situation. But the first thing I did when I heard, when it started to sink in what this was I was like, I'm going to go to Vegas. I'm going to spend money. I'm going.
Also, it couldn't have happened in a more equipped city. Las Vegas is it's got really great schools for doctors, and they have to have hospitals on all corners of the city because you're in the middle of the desert, and a lot of people go out there 100 miles away from civilization, and they break a hip or worse, and so there's a lot of very equipped, doctors, and also the police force is really equipped with handling large amounts of people and. Everything happened last night a lot easier than it would have in other cities just because of the police force and hospitals. I always felt safe when I lived in Vegas. It's like, well, they say you're not supposed to go to North Las Vegas because you get shot. But if I do, well, I know the cops will get me to the hospital quick and the doctors will be really nice to me. And I'll feel safe.
Yeah, no, in UNLV, sort of that's where sort of it's a really sort of respected medical school, or am I making that up? Yeah. Woman called Rachel DeKerf filmed her escape from the venue using her cell phone. It's chilling. I'll put it on the blog, but it's not for the faint of heart. I don't know. Maybe I won't put it on the blog. You're really caught between a rock and a hard place in these situations. Between wanting to be respectful.
You're going to hear it on the news over and over and over again.
Yeah, I know. But you know what? I've always prided us on being better than the news. I've always prided us on thinking of the humanity of any
we don't
situation.
Have to play it.
Yeah. But she described ongoing gunfire, and she said the gunshots lasted for 10 to 15 minutes. Didn't stop. We all just ran for our lives. Her sister, a woman called Monique Dumas, said that everybody instantly crouched when they heard the shots. She said the band was rushed off the stage. The floodlights came on the crowd. And you see on the right-hand side of the stage the person who is injured, and they're calling for medics, calling for security. And then there was gunfire again. Do you know Storm Warren? Do you know this person,
No.
Funkhauser? Works over at Sirius XM country radio host. They're on the side of the stage. Mm-hmm. And Storm said, I thought it was fireworks going off and maybe mistriggered because it was happening during the middle of the performance. And when it happened the third time, we knew something was wrong. The shells were hitting the deck of the stage when I was on it, he said. Whoa. And he said they could still hear shells, and they hit under the stage for protection. And he said it seemed like there was a pause in the gunfire, and the people in the yellow shirts were telling people to go, go, go. The gunfire never ended. It seemed like it went on and on. And
I mean, you've been to a concert. At what point do you realize that there are gunshots happening? I mean, it'll take a little bit to kind of let it dawn on you.
I was at a concert once where there were some shots fired, like a massive outdoor festival in London once. But it was so far away. And look, you know, if you're not somebody that shoots guns, a gun doesn't necessarily sound like what you think it's going to sound. It doesn't sound like the movies. It doesn't sound like television. It's a very different type of, if you haven't heard it, knowing what it is right off the bat is not an easy thing to understand. Concert goer told KLAS in Vegas that everyone was lying on top of each other trying to get out of the shooter's way, that people were leaping on their friends, family, and loved ones to protect them. She said, my husband and I ran toward our car, and there were people hiding underneath my car for cover. There was a gentleman who was shot, and he said, can you help me? So I put him in my car, and I had like 6 people in my car, people without shoes running just to get away. Ooh.
These are drunk Americans having a good time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them are veterans.
A lot of people work really hard, save up for these vacations. You know, like it's a massive country music festival in Vegas, place where people go when they want to get away from it all. And these are not people that were doing anything other than enjoying something that they probably saved up for, enjoying music that they loved, enjoying a getaway in a city where you're supposed to go when you really just do need to get away. And it's horrific and it's terrible. And there's going to be, and this is the, I don't think I've seen it yet, but there's going to be early attempts to politicize this. Like there were in Orlando. And, you know, it's interesting when I think back to Orlando, I remembered something that wound up bringing us all together. In Orlando, it happened in a gay nightclub. And it happened with a gun that people were immediately questioning. A gun that people were immediately questioning, the question being, how did he get this? This might not have happened if he got this. The thing about Orlando, I'm trying to sort of say this in the right way and do things in the right way and in a respectful manner. But the thing that I remember about Orlando was people that were part of the LGBTQ community said this is an attack on us. People said this man never would have been able to commit this if he hadn't been able to get a hold of this gun that he used. People said, I'm not having my right to a gun taken away from me. The police were unable to help the folks in Orlando. I'm not having my personal freedom and my ability to defend myself in such a situation taken from me. People said it was an act of Islamic terrorism. People said it was a hate crime. People called for a response to all these different things. And I remember thinking after Orlando, you're all right. Everyone is right in this situation. I have a hard time arguing against any of these things. And that was the crystallizing moment that we were all bonded by this horrific act of terror. And it's in these situations where everyone is right and everyone's thoughts and feelings are valid that you do kind of, hopefully, catch on to the fact that we are all, always, sometimes we remember it, sometimes we don't, but we are all, always, all in this American experience together. And I hope in the days and weeks and months to come, as the details of this horrific incident, the largest mass shooting in modern U.S. history, as the details continue to roll in, there are people that would remember that, people that would seek to politicize this, people that would seek to get clicks, people that would seek to gain political ground out of this tragedy. Put all that aside and remember that these are times where we have to have it first and foremost in our hearts and minds that we're all in this together. These are Americans just like you and me. Different in many ways from one another, but all bonded by wanting to go enjoy some music that they loved, wanting to get away from it all. People that doubtlessly worked hard for the money to buy the tickets to something like this. And these are all people who are gone, whose lives have been forever changed if they're still here with us. And like I said, I hope we all bear this in mind, that our differences, while they might be there, they might be valid, they might be things that we are concerned with, especially in times like these. Our differences really mean nothing. We're all Americans. We're all in this together. All right, Funkhauser.
Yeah, I know you don't like country, but have you heard all the words in the country songs? I mean, they're all about good times and drinking and hanging out with your friends and being an American and stuff. And now every time you hear one of those songs, you're going to think about this.
Well,
for a while,
every time I hear one of those songs, I'm going to think about the people that we lost and the people that lost them. And I'm going to say a prayer.
You're longing for that shining sun. You walk these streets most every day. You're waiting to get washed away.
Now, more AD on the radio.
We are joined today in sadness, shock, and grief. This is what Donald Trump said in his remarks about Las Vegas from the White House. He ordered flags to be flown at half-mast, and he'll be visiting Vegas on Wednesday to meet with first responders and victims. And he closed out his statement saying he prayed for the day when evil is banished and the innocent are safe. More than, I think it's 500 now, injured in the shooting in Vegas. Close to 60 people killed. Largest mass shooting in modern history. The gunman killed following what was, like I said, the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. The government says we are monitoring the situation closely and offer our full support to state and local officials. All of those affected are in our thoughts and prayers. Attorney General Jeff Sessions said that he met with FBI Director Chris Wray and spoke with the Las Vegas sheriff. Mike Pence said he and his wife are praying for the victims. And, it's interesting because in these situations, there's sort of like a response. People will offer thoughts and prayers, and folks will say that thoughts and prayers are not what they need right now. They need supplies. They need money. They need all of these things. And right now, really all that's needed, all that's being asked for is blood. And like I said earlier, donate blood. If you can donate blood, donate the blood. And look, there's going to be people all over the country that want to donate blood in this situation. And we'll say, well, gee, what's the point? Everyone's donating blood. This will be a surplus. Well, they wouldn't have to ask for blood if there had been a surplus in the first place. So I know folks are thinking, well, do they really need all the, I'm sure they've got all the blood they can use. If you are in a position to give, don't think that your giving is meaningless. People will always need this. And whether you're helping someone directly now or whether you're helping someone down the road, it's a noble thing to do. Nevada politicians also responded. Senseless, horrifying act of violence in Las Vegas tonight. This is Republican Senator Dean Heller, who is from Nevada, praying for all the victims and those impacted by the tragedy. And like I said, that's the thing. You can donate blood, and beyond that, there's not a whole lot you can do. I was telling Funkhauser that you immediately start to wonder what it is you can do to help. You want to do something. You want to help those affected. You want to show support to the families of those affected. You want to, in some way, shape, or form, acknowledge the pain that people are going through by taking action, hoping to mitigate their pain and our pain at the same time. And that's the frightening thing. There's not a ton you can do. We saw it in New York City. We saw firemen during 9/11 come up with the heartbreaking fact that when it came to rescuing survivors weren't really a thing. And I remember that feeling. I remember feeling powerless and helpless in the face of this attack because you're just dying to take some sort of action. You're praying that you could mitigate damage through your own personal action. And sometimes you can't. And sometimes all you have are your thoughts and prayers. People that offer up thoughts and prayers in tragedies are often criticized. A lot of folks would say they don't need your thoughts and prayers right now. They need whatever it is. Well, sometimes that's all we have. So if you're a praying person, I hope that you pray. And I hope that you pray for Las Vegas.
This feels
Leave the stimulation to the professionals.
Everyone is so smart.
KPRC, more stimulating talk radio.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The dumbing up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
So there's a 24-hour crisis hotline if you are attempting to locate someone in Las Vegas. There's a Facebook page that has allowed people to get constant real-time updates on the situation in Vegas and has allowed people to mark themselves safe and has made an effort to connect people with folks that are in hospital and help people get accounted for. There's also a 24-hour crisis hotline, 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Sometimes in these situations, it really is all we can do to hope and wait and pray and keep love in our hearts for the victims in these situations, the families of the victims in these situations, and for one another. We are all going through this together as a country. So please, keep love in your hearts today for every last one of us in America. And we'll keep you informed as details continue to come in. In the meantime...
Ooh. Can I play you a song? Or are you going to go somewhere else?
No, you can play me a song.
I think we talked about this off the air, and you had a story about it. It seems relevant for today. We need a palate cleanser, I think.
White lips, pale face, breathing in snowflakes, burnt lungs, sour taste. Lights gone.
You didn't know who this was when I played it for you, right, Funkhauser?
No,
This is like the biggest pop star in the world.
Before he was, right?
Before he was. I think this was the first time we experienced him. This is Ed Sheeran.
This way since 18, but lately her face seems slowly sinking, wasting, crumbling like pastries, and they scream the worst things in life come free to us, cause we're just under the upper hand. I'll go mad for a couple grams, and she don't.
Sorry, no, this is beautiful. I was just thinking.
And in a pipe she flies to the motherland.
I'm not one of those folks that look, I believe in music, and I believe in music education, and I believe in support for the arts and all of the above.
We couldn't be friends if you weren't.
Well, I don't think I'm a big campaigner for a lot of these things. Look, there's music and art being taken out of school programs. And I'm not really one of those people at the forefront for doing something to remedy that and save that. I mean, I've worked with VH1 Save the Music a little bit here and there, and I think if it hadn't been for music, I don't know what I would be or who I would be. I certainly wouldn't have wound up in this career. I wouldn't have had a shot. But I think the important thing about music is that it gave me a sense that when I was failing and struggling at everything else in school, when I was coming to grips with the fact that I had sort of all these undiagnosed learning disorders, the dyslexia, the ADD, all of the above, music was the one thing that I guess kind of helped me have a sense of worth, that I wasn't completely just a failure. And so for that reason, music was personally very important to me, and I would hate to see a kid denied that. So music is vitally important in these situations, and music education is something I believe in. And while it's a shame to see music and art programs taken out of schools for that reason, during times like these, I think you realize how important music, art, writing, all of these things are. These are the things that make us feel. These are the things that make us heal. When we are helpless, music, the right song, the right arrangements of words and notes can heal us. I listened to this song. I played this at Funkhauser because, well, you'd never heard it before, but this song reminds me so much of my childhood, my young adulthood. The song's about a girl in London who winds up hooked on drugs and, I guess, throwing away her life. And there were so many people that I knew during a certain time of my life that were on the fringes of that. I never knew anybody who, well, at least I hope I didn't know anyone because they didn't tell me, and I would have been very sad for them if it was true. But I didn't know anybody that resorted to prostitution to pay for a drug habit. the way the girl in this song did. But I remember so many of us being young and being scared at the time, not knowing what to make of the world, trying to have a good time as we make our way through it. And this isn't connected to Vegas, but the point is, when I hear this, I'm back at that place in my life, and I'm making sense of things that I couldn't make sense of then. And in that way, music has healed and helped me repair and help me make sense of what was a really tough and turbulent time in my life. And it's during times like these that I think you realize just how important music is and can be. All right, Funkhauser. So let's do a little news, shall we? If we get any more information from Las Vegas as it comes in, I think, I wouldn't go as far as calling what we do art around here, but
it is art. How dare you?
It is important too.
It's like the most art. People close their eyes. They think they know what we look like. They really don't.
You calling yourself a work of art?
Yes. Someone someday will make a statue of me.
Yeah, you do 2 months of power sculpting yoga, and already you're a work of art. Well done.
2 months? Hello, I think I'm on my 8th month.
Oh, are you really?
Once a week, Buster. Uh-huh. Now I know the moves before they happen.
You said twice a week before.
Well, I'm saying once a week now, Buster.
Yeah, okay. All right, a work of art whose form will be at one point carved into marble.
Hey, I'm noticing things. There's things going on. No pictures yet, though. I need to master the mirror bathroom selfie before any of that goes out public. So, TBD.
It's interesting. Now you're in shape. You don't want to take pictures of yourself, but when you were flabby and naked gardening, the entire
no one said I'm in shape.
Look at it.
I'm just on the road. Oh, all and right. You just wait till next naked gardening day when I've got a 6-pack or at least a 2-pack. Dyson, the British vacuum cleaner maker, plans to build electric cars by 2020.
Yeah, I saw that. It's interesting because if you make, vacuums, and you've been successful at making vacuums for quite some time now, like, what do? You want to expand. You want to do different things. Like, what is it? You'd think maybe if you wanted to diversify what it is you were all about, you'd move into the mop and broom world or something, or perhaps laundry and dishwashers. Well,
there's
and
motors.
Of that nature.
There's motors in vacuum cleaners. So I guess there's motors in cars too.
So yeah, by the year 2020, we'll be able to buy electric cars made by a vacuum cleaner manufacturer. Would you buy one, Funkhauser? Do you think you'd drive a Dyson electric car? Would you? If the price is right,
yes. I like the pitch guy on that. I'm Dyson. I can make a vacuum cleaner go around the corner without you doing it, because I made a ball out of it. Dyson.
I gave it some thought. I would never buy a car made by a vacuum cleaner manufacturer, only because there's a really good chance that car will suck. Go on.
Scientists claim that they can tell if someone cheated on their partner just by listening to their voice.
And in a related story, couples that I've talked to about this have now started communicating entirely through text message. Through the sound of their voice. I wonder what the telltale sign of infidelity is in someone's voice.
I think their voice goes up. Of course
maybe
not.
It goes down, or you're... No! Are you kidding?
Where would you even come up with that idea?
Yeah. Go on.
An Arizona man notorious for posting fake news articles during the election was found dead.
Or was he? See what I did there. Go on.
A restaurant in Manhattan is selling a $2,000 pizza.
I saw this and I was like, all right, what's the most you'd be willing to spend on a pizza?
What's on it? Like truffles?
So yes, this is what I looked up. It's 24 karat gold leaf. I don't know what this obsession with gold leaf and food is.
Come on, it goes right through you.
I have no idea, but I can't imagine people going, gold, let's eat it. It's just, maybe it's because it's a sign of sheer decadence. So it's like gold leaf and truffles and dollops of caviar and a whole bunch of other expensive stuff on this pizza, $2,000 a pop. And if you, if you can't make it to Manhattan to buy yourself this $2,000 pizza, you could just walk out in the street and kick a homeless person in the teeth. It more or less sends the same message. Holy freaking God. What else?
The juice is loose. Look out, everyone. We should have led with this one. OJ was released from a Nevada prison at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So your days are numbered, real murderer. Gosh.
Florida's attorney general doesn't want OJ to live there because of his record.
Right. Yeah. I think, I mean, look, we love Florida. We're on in Florida. I spent my entire childhood going to Florida on vacation. But there are other people in Florida that I could see that. I could see it being a PR disaster. I mean, because of his record is one thing. Florida's attorney general saying he doesn't want OJ living there because of his record is one thing. But then, you know, you really don't want to be the place where OJ Simpson hangs his hat the moment he gets out of jail. But yeah, gosh, I don't know. The guy who's got to be terrified in this situation is Jimmy Fallon. He's just like, oh my gosh, the juice is loose. This could bring Jay Leno out of retirement, and this ride could be over, baby, over. What else?
I see OJ, and he looks scared. The Flatliners remake is a critical and box office disaster.
That one had me kind of scratching my head. Did you ever see the original back in the day? I think it was like Kiefer Sutherland and Julia Roberts.
Yeah, that was a great one.
I remember watching it as a kid and thinking it was kind of cool, but it wasn't like this massive movie. It wasn't like this huge blockbuster. And when I look at, when you look around at things that Hollywood attempts to reboot, they tend to be things that were like massive cultural events, that need updating for a younger generation. And this didn't fall into that category. That one had me scratching my head. Well, look, before we go, once again, the 24-hour crisis hotline in Vegas is 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. There's a resource on Facebook that can help you connect with someone that you are concerned or worried about or who hasn't checked in. And once again, if you pray, please do. God bless each and every one of us.